So we're about ready to tour the building on 1044 Main Street. Michael Meyer, my realtor, is here with me. He brought Rao Construction and
Velocity Construction.
Velocity Construction. We got a car trying to get in here right now. What do you think the highest and best use is for this building?
I think a mixed use for sure, so something with some residential and some office space. It's in a phenomenal location, right off of Main, so you've got the streetcar literally on your front door. Cannot get a better location than this. I think a mixed use combination between residential and commercial.
All right, so make sure you guys check it out. We're gonna go all the way inside the building, check out most of the floors, bring the contractors through there. We're walking into the building, 1044 Main Street. This is nerve-wracking for me, I'll be honest with you. You know, if you're new to real estate, you're like, I'm gonna flip up this house. It's like a little bit different because I started flipping houses 10 years ago, and now I'm possibly gonna buy this property in downtown Kansas City. If you're interested in investing in this property, definitely hit me up, comment below. We are gonna be looking for other investors. Possibly hit me up if you're interested in our Millionaire Mentorship programs. You can find out how you can buy buildings like this. Then definitely click the link in our bio. We'll put one up there for you. We're signing up students daily. So we're gonna come on in, check it out. We've got a beautiful lobby over here.
So what do you want to see? What do you, basement up?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go basement up for sure. So this thing gets closed off at night and everybody enters this way. It's like the only property I've looked at where it hasn't needed to be all redone, which is for a change kind of nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm replacing one of these right now. These things are cheap. Question just for people who are watching this video is, how much do you think one of these things costs to replace? Comment below if you know, because I can tell you it's about $28,000 for the one I'm replacing. Is that typical?
I'd say that's probably a pretty good price.
So these things go down how often?
You know, they ought to last for 50 years. The building's tall, so the water pressure on the city main will not give you good flow up on your top floors. And so what this will do is it basically will give you the same flow on the top floor as you would normally get on the first floor with the city main.
Would you say that these are one of the most expensive things to consider when buying commercial property? What I'm talking about is fire sprinklers. The whole fire code in general can be super expensive.
Yeah, it can be.
And elevators probably being as
Elevators
close.
be the most.
Elevators, your fire sprinkler system, then your base electrical system and mechanical system. But your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing are probably a third of your cost, and you never see it.
This is an area of concern for me. Is that wrapped in asbestos right there?
You really don't know unless you get somebody in to do a sample and test it.
Okay. What's the problem with asbestos besides all the lawsuits?
Well, the problem with asbestos is when the asbestos goes airborne. If it is contained, if it's in good condition, it's not hazardous.
All right, well, let's head up. We've seen the basement. What is it, 12 stories total, with 2 of them not being finished out, right?
One not being finished. So there's 10 stories, mezzanine, basement. Then there's that called the penthouse or that kind of bonus.
Yeah.
And then mechanical above that. The 10th floor is the only one that's never been touched, really.
My goal would be like, okay, we can rent that thing out for $500. We can rent this one out for $500 until you get it. And then like, okay, let's build out spaces and conference rooms and stuff like that. But you have so much space right now, it's like, why start working on stuff?
Yeah.
This is an excellent view right here, guys. You're literally right down at the power and light. You can see, Colin, like, this property's in impeccable shape.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's why you're here. This one was probably just a whole lawyer's office, I'm imagining. This
tenant that was here, I think they did kind of like collections. They had workstations here, and they were associated with the law office at one time that did the collection part of it.
Okay, so this is the one that's not ever built out.
Yep. They just use it for storage.
It's crazy that they never built this out though. Have you seen that before in buildings, Dan? Where they would not finish like a top floor?
No, usually they build it all out. It's interesting, all the window sills are higher on this floor.
What do we got here?
It's steeper than a modern stair, but
And smaller.
It's not like a ladder.
Yeah, the ladders would be scary. I get those.
Yeah, but you're right. You know, the city would also want a structural engineer to make sure all the connections are good, it's not going to fall off, because it has been exposed to the weather for 100 years.
This one looks in pretty good shape. I hate heights too. I imagine in construction, you probably get used to them.
No, I hate them.
You hate them too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't stand them.
What we've seen people do is just basically build walls around it so this becomes a stair shaft.
That's a good workaround. All right, let's just hit maybe 2 more floors real quick. Ideally, what I would love to do is have like part of it be short-term rentals, like Airbnbs. The other part be short-term office rentals. and then long-term office rentals. The Airbnb would be the main part. If we could get the codes to not make us have to add, I guess, an inside staircase or something like that. I guess you can case the outside one. The top 2 floors are not built out. One of them is like a mezzanine, which you have to walk to. The other one is just not built out. And so ideally, in my mind, would be to start with those and make those Airbnbs, and because they need to be built out, and might as well build them those out because people want to have the best view and that whole thing. Then I would just move into one of these offices, and then we'd start trying to lease out space. If that model worked well, then we'd want to continue to go down and kind of stabilize the building that way. Michael, do you want to go up to that other building? We'll just keep walking down to the next one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So now we're on floor 8. If that model actually worked, where the short-term rental actually worked, then this is like, you just keep building them out, keep building them out, keep building them out, because it's literally just adding walls. Another podcast studio room right here. This window needs some work. I mean, God, you can't get a better view than that though. To rent these out the way they are, you probably would have to get new lawyers in here, you're probably gonna have to paint these and just freshen them up. Probably make one of these like a model unit where you spend all your money, you spend all your stuff to kind of get people's vision. So we would probably want to do something like this as a model unit. Again, with the upstairs though, so that could be the model unit for the Airbnb. This could be the model unit for, an actual office. Put new flooring in this, paint the walls, give it a homey feel. I would imagine when you exit the elevators and you're in here, what are you walking into? You need to have this should be a conference room right here or something. You're just walking into a pillar. So you would want to have this to be like a conference room. Beyond that would be more offices. Now, the biggest thing is, how the hell am I gonna get this thing financed? One thing with commercial properties is if you're gonna buy this to move into as a residential property, you're looking at it and you're going, okay, I wanna buy this property, it's a residential property. I'm gonna go to the bank, I'm gonna get a loan, and the bank's gonna say, great, Troy, you're moving in it, how much money do you make? Oh, you make $500,000 a year. Okay, we're willing to loan you X number of dollars. Now, when they're looking at a property like this, what they're looking at is saying, how much income does this property produce? And the reality is, with taxes, with expenses, it's in the negative. It has to be what is called stabilized, which means that goal is to get people in here to now make that negative turn into a positive, right? When you have a property that is like a residential property and it's not rented and the power's not on, the utilities aren't on, you're not losing much money, you got taxes if you don't have a mortgage. If you got something like this, that's $5.6 million, you got a mortgage that's sizable, because the good rule of thumb I always look at when buying commercial properties is you're gonna be spending, $6,000 for every $1 million you borrow, plus your taxes. Well, we'll tell you, they're gonna be expensive. I think that the whole building is gonna be like $170,000 for taxes per year. So then that starts eating into your, this is somebody who wants me to buy their property from them. So I've got a deal that I'm doing with somebody else. They want an offer. I told them I'd have an offer to them today, and that's in Las Vegas. That's gonna pay for this building, but that's not how you want to run the building. You want to run the building so the building actually cash flows and pays for itself. The interesting thing about this building is that we could do the ultimate seller financing deal. Why? Because the bank who owns this building is a bank. They have every intention to try to sell this. And the other thing is, how many people have backed out of this property? This property's been for sale for like 4 or 5 years. And if I come into them and I'm saying, hey, you own the building, you wanna sell it, we agreed upon the price, rather than me going to and trying to get a loan, because I'm gonna hand you 10 loan denials where nobody is going to loan me the money to buy this building. But you guys own the building outright. You don't own any money on the building. So why don't you seller finance it for me? I'll give you this down payment that I have of $1.3 million or $1.5 million or whatever it is, or whatever you guys want. And then you're going to not make me make payments for 2 years. You're going to put those payments on the back end of that loan so that I can stabilize the building, which they know it needs to be stabilized. And then I can refinance you out of it. And that would be called a bridge loan, seller financing. Depending on whatever you're looking at, this is what we'd want to do. Comment below if you are interested in investing in this property. Why would you want to be interested in investing in this property? Let's talk about it. Whenever you buy a property that doesn't cash flow, which I don't ever buy properties that cash flow. Why? Because you don't get a good deal on them. But if you're buying a property that doesn't cash flow, The upside is when you get it to cash flow. So what you do is you do a pro forma, which is gonna calculate out how much money you're gonna make. If you're a high income earner, let's say you're a lawyer and you make $200,000 a year or more, you have huge taxes. You might be paying 40% of your money to the tax man. If you invest in real estate, I can give you some of my depreciation because you're an owner of this property. I don't need depreciation. What's depreciation? Depreciation allows me to write off a paper loss against my income. And by the way, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video with anybody that might be interested in this property. The reason that this would be beneficial for you if you were a high income earner or just somebody looking for a return is you're gonna get a preferred rate of return, which means that we would put like an 8% return on your investment, and then you'd get a piece of the equity depending on how much money you invest. And if you are a high income earner and you put a lot of money in, you would also get some depreciation, which means you turn that into your account. You say, hey, I invested in this property on 1044 Main Street. Here's the depreciation I get to plug in, and now you can take that as a loss against your income. So if you look at things in terms of, hey, I'm gonna be making income, or if I didn't make income, I'm gonna be paying less taxes, which means I still made more income. So depreciation on commercial buildings is about 39, I think it's 39 or 39 and a half years. It might be 39 years. I think residential is 27 and a half years. My best year prior to me getting into real estate, I made $215,000, I think it was. I paid $82,000 in taxes that year. Do you think that if I invested $50,000 into a commercial property, I would have paid $80,000 in taxes? No, because I would have gotten depreciation, which would have been a paper loss against my income. It's super exciting when you're looking at properties like this, about what they have to offer. And there's a million ways to skin a cat with real estate. Look at this cool terrace, by the way. Would it be cool to build something like that on the top of this building? Like get everybody drunk and then like put a zip line to there? So we got locked out. We left this door, actually a couple floors up. The point is that this building is super secure. The good news is we're getting our steps in for the day. Haha. All right, so this is literally one of the best parts of the building, which is the actual bank's office. This is built out luxury. You can see you got nice tile in here. You got a nice cool office in here. Hopefully all this furniture stays. If you got a mortgage office, if you got a lawyer's office, and you want to rent this space out from me, comment below or contact me and my team. They're eventually going to be vacating. As you can tell, this is a really, really cool building. And this takes us right to the parking garage right there. So it does come with a parking garage. I'm not going to leave it because I'll probably get locked out, but high surveillance everywhere. All these elevators excellently maintained. And you can tell what happens here is this whole fence, so to speak, comes around and closes. So when the bank's not open, you don't actually enter through the bank's lobby because that closes off. You come around to this side. But one thing I looked at is, why do you want to change what you have here? Law office, law office, law office. And when you think about it, whenever I'm looking at tenant mix and who I can rent to, I always try to think like, how are they going to be able to pay their rent? And if they're selling widgets, like if they're selling, like my business is that I sell this little thing that makes me 5 cents, and I got to sell a lot of these things that cost 5 cents, they're probably going to fail. Lawyers who charge lots of money and want prestigious stuff would like this building, because let's say it's a personal injury attorney. One car accident per month is going to pay his rent. One class action lawsuit is going to pay his rent for the next 10 years. What do lawyers want? They want prestige and they want access to the courthouse. We're in downtown with access to the courthouse within walking distance. They want to bring their clients in, take their fob system, get up there. That's what we'll try to really go after, is we'll try to go after a lot of lawyers. I think right here, even if these guys end up moving out, I think that this would be a great law office, or exactly what it was already built out as a bank. And you can tell they really spent a lot of money with all these fob systems and stuff. So when I'm looking at this building and saying, okay, this is maybe not the best investment, or maybe it is the best investment, well, I know they've already spent a lot of money. So when you look at it, it's just literally thinking of a strategy of, what's my tenant mix? How do I find the right tenant so I can get this thing rolling? How do I get somebody in here and say, okay, can we get the mayor to move in here? Can we put his office in here? Can we make this the new city hall? You got to think about stuff that's going to get and attract other people to be here. Like if you can bring one tenant that's going to attract other people to be here, that's what you really want. The whole point is being creative and thinking what is going to bring you the best tenant mix. And if you ever want to take a look at things like that, like there was a building in Las Vegas. One of the things that happened was the whole shopping center was empty. It had like literally nobody in the shopping center. All of a sudden, this gym comes in there, takes an old supermarket, and this gym gives $9 memberships. All of a sudden the parking lot fills up. All these businesses now that were having no traffic get all this traffic from this gym. Now the customers have no place to park because the gym filled it up, but those customers are now the same customers. So if you think about it, like, why are McDonald's and Burger King built right next to each other? Why is CVS and Walgreens built right next to each other? Because that person has a choice, right? And so when we're looking at this property, we're looking at tenant mix. It's very important to understand tenant mix. Let's go look at the outside of the building. I literally just did my first Turo rental yesterday, or today, this morning. We handed off keys for our Sprinter van. If you haven't checked out that video, that's pretty cool. My wife looked at me this morning and goes, what the hell are we doing? Why the hell do we add more stress to our life? And I said, because that's what we do. This is another benefit right here of this building, is this streetcar right here. Why am I so attracted to this building? Number one, it's prestigious. If I'm building out my education platform, and if you haven't signed out for the coaching right now, you definitely need to do that. So go to TroyKearns.com, click on the mentorship, and schedule a call with me. Look at that beautiful streetcar. Look at that thing. Here's the other benefit of owning this building. You don't have to put your carbon footprint all over the place. You can just take the streetcar. I love this building. We're right in the heart of everything. Well, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
We just got done looking at 1044 Main Street, which is the property I'm in contract to buy right now for $5.6 million. What did you think about it? Should I buy it? Should I not? What would you do? Subscribe, let us know.
Peace.